lost their job, as we both well know.
And when she told the Cut magazine that she never signed a non-disclosure agreement, those are kind of terrifying statements if you're a member of the royal family or we are hearing a little bit about Meghan Markle's health again. Meghan turned 43 on Sunday. All eyes were on her and Prince Harry's latest interview. They said yes to discuss the Parents Network program. Now, this is a free support service for parents in the US, UK, and Canada dealing with social media's impact on children. The pair shared their own worries for their children and stressed how important online safety is. Meghan, she said she hoped that opening up might help others going through the same thing. I'm sure there were the best intentions here, but there has been a lot of pushback when it comes to this interview here in the States. Teak here in LA that is always at war with Chrissy Teigen post that interview with Meghan and then say, Meghan talking about online bullying. Here's Chrissy Teigen. And they went into Chrissy Teigen going after a 16-year-old girl years ago. I mean, should the focus be on the families that have lost children? Should the focus be on the children versus Meghan going back into the story we had originally heard on Oprah? Is this the right strategy for Harry and Meghan to launch this program? Actually, it could be incredibly beneficial to the world.
Well, listen, the whole issue of mental health is something that Meghan has been passionate about for for a long time. I mean, certainly before her days as a member of the royal family. Of course, that controversial with her threw up so much. There was one very famous TV presenter who actually lost their job, as we both well know, over questioning, Meghan's mental health and the claims that she was making about her mental health. This is her opportunity to speak about her experience of mental health, and this is, and I think she says, doesn't she? She'll take, if she gets knocked about this, she'll take the hit. She'll take the hit because she thinks it's very, very important that she is talking about something that is considered a stigma. And I have to say, Kinsey, that I feel that anyone with a public platform like that is able to sort of raise awareness about mental health is ultimately doing something good. I think sort of when it comes down to that Oprah interview, of course, all the controversy over that, the racism row, the mental health claims that Meghan mentioned all seem to come back in a rather ugly way. So I think she takes a risk in doing it, but she recognizes that. She says she's going to tempt the brickbat going to come with it. I think the they're pushing in terms of raising awareness about online safety and protecting children in today's world when it comes to online safety is a hugely important subject and one that absolutely needs awareness raised around it. It's something that Prince William is hugely involved with over here. Harry's also involved because he gets involved with tech giants in a different way. And I think when you consider the platforms that they've got and the profiles and the access, they're actually really powerful advocates for better online safety for children. And I think it doesn't matter what you think of Meghan Markle, whether you're a fan or not, the safety of our children online is hugely important in the world that we live in.
You did make the comment just now, though, that they did risk jeopardizing their relationship with the family a little bit. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but do you think that when they made those comments, they realized, okay, with every article that comes up about this, there's going to be chunks of comment, comments from the Oprah Winfrey interview, we are rehashing distance with some of these in link with prior statements that she'd made?
Well, listen, Meghan is certainly not stupid. She's an incredibly intelligent woman, and I think she knows that every comment that she makes is going to be dissected and analysed, and is going to generate her own experience. She sort of said she barely scratched the surface. I mean, that sort of, I'm not saying it was a threat, but it sort of felt quite sort of threatening, I suppose, a little ominous, in that, the suggestion being, gosh, there's so much more I could say that I haven't yet. Well, is that the plan? Is that going to be the intention, to put more information out about that period of time? We don't know is the answer. But of course, every time that subject of her emotional and mental well-being when she was part of the royal family is revisited, she obviously by that she wasn't heard. That only one side of the story has been out there, and it all seems to suggest that she's still got more she wants to say. And I think that is probably concerning for the royal family. But as much as it's concerning, it's also not going to do anything to help those already strained familial relationships. And I think this is part of the problem in terms of Meghan's relationship with the royal family and the wider royal family, is that there has just been such a breakdown of trust, and there is a genuine nervousness about what else she may want to say. And when she says things like, well, I've only scratched the surface, it suggests, I think, that she may well be planning to tell more of her story.
Also, when she said in the Cut interview that she discovered her journals at Frogmore Cottage, and she'd forgotten that she had documented things. And when she told the Cut magazine that she never signed a non-disclosure agreement, she kind of terrifying statements if you're a member of the royal family, or if you're in charge of controlling the royals communication department. I imagine you're looking at this going, oh no, what's on the horizon?
What's next? Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Nervousness, probably. I think it just triggers a sense of nervousness.
I just wanted to want anybody to know his itinerary, is so paranoid. He doesn't want anybody else to know his itinerary. He's afraid somebody will say, oh, Harry plans on going to the zoo on Tuesday, like anybody cares. But I think that it just proves that that a lot of what's going on with the UK and the millions that are being spent are for theatrics. And the reality is he's much safer in the UK than in either one of those countries.
Well, the US has rated Colombia as a... So it is absolutely ridiculous that they would go there, especially the optics. I mean, sometimes I just do think, I mean, maybe it's Harry, and I've said this before, he's not the sharpest tool in the box. Would you not think, while you were having a major disagreement with the British authorities and security services about safety, that maybe a visit to Colombia during that time might just somewhat invalidate your point? I mean, he's not bright, is he? He can't be. Or do they just not know? Or do you think they're just clueless? I don't know.
I honestly think that these two I think they still have burns over, I mean, like burns all over their body over the chilly reception that they received in Hollywood. You know, there was I'm not talking the ESPYs, which no one had heard about until they gave Prince Harry a plastic trophy, but the Grammy Awards, the Emmy Awards, the comedians that were hosting would take a swipe at Harry and Meghan, and I imagine that if Harry and Meghan keep pushing through with their Hollywood content, that criticism will continue. We saw the Emmys host joke that Harry and Meghan can do nothing and get a paycheck from Netflix, and joked about them getting fired from Spotify. Trevor Noah joking about Harry's Todger at the Grammys. The entire South Park episode that everybody loved. I think the Del Taco joke in Family Guy, I think it was. I can't remember actually what show it was. But I think that Harry and Meghan are so desperate to be taken seriously that they will go wherever they have to go in the world. Anybody that will give them this platform, because they need the glossy photos. They need the highly produced video as no sense of humor.
Can I just call into question then just one final thing? I mean, you said when it comes to Harry. Can I just tell you, a couple of weeks ago, when I was going away, I had to walk past the 8-hour cream from Elizabeth Arden in the duty free, and I was like, and their lip balm is lovely, and I picked it up and I thought, I can't do the smell again. I can't smell.
I can feel Princess Diana behind me.
If you don't know this and you haven't seen us references, Elizabeth Arden 8-hour cream to his penis after it had frostbite, and he said that he felt that his mother was with him because that was what she used to use as lip balm. I've never been able to use 8-hour cream since, Kinsey.
Well, you did.
Well, yeah, on one of our podcasts, I applied it to myself in the same place. I had to get a wet wipe very quickly. Maybe one day, maybe for our Christmas special, I'll reenact that again.
But I just think that they're definitely desperate to be taken seriously, and they'll go wherever they have to go if somebody will allow them to pretend. And how sad.
Yeah, very, very sad indeed. Well, we will continue to keep an eye on what they are up to. That's all we've got time for. Now,
like this video, share with a friend, and let us know if you agree or disagree in the comments.
talking about, to bring on this other couple that had a son take his life. So if you hadn't, why else would you be bringing on the parents of somebody who had just taken their life if you didn't think you whose son took his life? And she was smiling, and I just don't understand how she could be smiling with something that close. And I just don't know how you sit there with the parents of somebody who's committed suicide. How do you do it? I just don't know how you do it.
Alani, I've been excited to discuss with you this latest car crash interview from Meghan Markle. This was the first time Meghan had actually sat down with Prince Harry since the Oprah Winfrey interview, which caused all of that carnage all those years ago. So you'd be expecting this to go quite smoothly. It was with the veteran CBS News presenter Jane Pauley on CBS Sunday Morning, which happened to be Meghan Markle's 43rd birthday. But it turned out to be a real car crash. Watch this.
You had an experience that connects you to these families. And I see you touch your husband's hand in just the way I knew that you would be looking after each other if I went places. But the connection that you have with people is they know you had suffered too, personally. Contemplating killing yourself is what suicidal ideation was. And I'm dancing around this because I can see you're uncomfortable with my even going there. Do you?
I understand why you are, though. I wasn't expecting it, but I understand why you are, because there is a through line, I think. And when you've been through any level of pain or trauma, I believe part of our healing journey, certainly part of mine, is being able to be really open about it. And I would never want someone else to not be believed. So if me, I'll take a hit for that.
So she certainly wasn't happy about being asked.
I know 3 guys that have committed suicide in the last 3 years. One actually very recently, when you sent to kill themselves if their partner went out for the evening. It was all very silent and they didn't know. And she just sits there like, this. Sorry. It was so recent that they didn't give signs. They didn't threaten it. I mean, and she kind of, I don't know, it's like, if that's how she felt, she talks about it like she hasn't gone through the process or she hasn't scratched the surface. Well, this has been ongoing. Why haven't you spoken to a therapist? No, because you're waiting for your new book. You're waiting for the next interview. You're waiting to speak about it in public and throw your dirty laundry and make the money you can make from it. Why haven't you scratched the surface as if this is what you've going and spoken to somebody? And I just it's all so insincere. Sorry, I didn't think
No,
I was
bless you.
about
No,
it.
because this is the problem, June. This is such an emotional issue. I'm sure we all know people like Leilani who have taken their own lives. And the problem is, June, it just feels like Meghan Markle wants to weaponize this issue.
When she's supposed to have felt like this since she's married him? Is it recent?
No, well, yes, since she married him, but when she was in the royal family.
Well, I don't like people who talk about things like this when they're at a place in their life where it's actually pretty okay, because it gives people the wrong impression. It makes people think that they can get so close to suicide, and some people will get so close to suicide and think it's going to be okay afterwards. Some people will have to have their stomach pumped. Some people will not recover from it properly. And it's making it glamorous. People like her talking about suicide like that, I feel, for me, is glamorizing a very, very serious situation. As Leilani said, David had a very good friend who committed suicide unexpectedly. It's a massive shock to the family. And some people give no outward signs. And it's absolutely heartbreaking. Other people get organised, get all the things in place, insurances and things, and then go and do it, and it's still a shock. So when she's talking about this, like you talk about, oh, how you got over dieting, and it's a topic, as you said, for the next book, for the next interview, it cheapens it. And it's
Exactly.
a very, very serious
I haven't
issue.
even scraped the surface, she says. The implication that this royal family is more coming. And actually, it's when Harry and Meghan bring in some parents who have lost their child to suicide. And I want you to look closely at the body language of both Meghan and Harry, because it feels like they're very disconnected and they're very, very distanced from these parents who are bearing their soul to
Often impossible for parents.
and see, Leilani, that's what and see, Leilani, that's what I hate. It's like you're using this couple for a publicity stunt, effectively.
That's how I feel it is. That's how I feel it is. It's like, and as you said, the whole thing where she talks about, well, I've not scratched the surface. It's almost like here's a little preview to what I can speak about next. There's something else coming. There's something else big for you lot. This is work that she should have dealt with by herself, or with Harry, or with her close family in private, and talk through all of this stuff. This is, if she was really there to go and help these people, why hasn't she been doing the work herself? If this is how she caused her to go, it's all about the interview, and it's about the outward, again, impression of it all, because I don't think that you would, if you really, I just don't think you would come on and talk about it like that and say you haven't scratched the surface
Of their son, and sort of sitting there cold away from them. It I just think it's to make out. But first, I only talked to you about products on this show that are actually life-changing. This one is a bit more personal, a bit more fun. But the fellas watch you, you're going to completely love it. And in fact, regions are over, thanks to our friends at Manscaped. I've come up with the ultimate package to keep your hair, which features about this. You might think you're talking about this sort of lawnmower.
Bites. The press had to follow her around the world because that's where she was doing her good work. She set off and got on because this is a couple that hasn't got an awful lot to talk about. This is a bit of a boring couple. This is a couple who aren't achieving much. And this is a couple, for me, they're not entertainment, they're not do-gooders. I don't know where they fit in. I never take any notice, but I don't know where they fit in. I haven't.
Stu said stay. Oh, I didn't expect you to talk about it. Well, you must have been thinking about that or must have known she was talking about to bring on this other couple that had a son take his life. So if you hadn't, why else would you be bringing on? The parents of somebody who had just taken their life, if you didn't think you were going to be talking about it, it's just staged.
Totally. I agree. I just want to show you one other moment though, because it did make me laugh. Meghan, for whatever reason, just clearly took against Jane Pauley, the interviewer. I guess she's used to her mates interviewing her, like Oprah Winfrey, people like that. And so there's a moment where Jane Pauley talks about being modest. And I just want you to watch closely because you can see that there is this flash of anger when that comment is made. Have a look.
The two of you, this is it's a modest beginning. It's not an army of parents yet.
No.
This sense of what if it was my daughter? What if it was my son? My son or my daughter who comes home, who are joyful, who I love, and one day, right under my roof, our entire lives change because of something that was completely out of our control. And if you look at it through the lens as a parent, there's
I can do this. Done. Okay, you got
We just got a new
She wasn't happy, was she, June?
You know, when you pick a cat up in the road that's just been nearly hit by a bus, she looked stunned. What? Because it wasn't, as you say, this comfortable interview that's a mate. You know what I mean? It was someone who's just probably doing a job in a fairly professional way. I just, it's just my opinion, but I don't think there's much. I don't think there's much there. There's nothing to go at. There's nothing interesting. Some people are just interesting, aren't they? You know, Joan Rivers, you could watch her all day. She's just interesting. Sharon Osbourne, there's something interesting. They can make boring things interesting.
Yeah.
She just makes me want to yawn.
From her.
Very much, but I just looked at her then as she spoke and as she was speaking about the parents of kids that had committed suicide, and she had a couple right next to her whose son took his life, and she was smiling, and I just don't understand how she could be smiling. It's happened to be there with the parents of somebody who's committed suicide and have no emotion and have this fake smile. Like, how do you do it? I just don't know how you do it.
Oh, Lilani, you're beautiful. You're a beautiful soul, and that's true emotion. I'm so sorry that it upset you, but I think it's really beautiful you talking about it. So I very much appreciate it, and I love both of you. June Slater, Lilani Dowding, always outspoken. Please come back very soon.